years cataloging it, and Google and other technological companies have come out and said that they are sequencing and cataloging every living species on Earth.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Let me point out, we're going to talk about the Trilateral Commission along the way. We haven't laid that groundwork yet, but I want to bring up a point since you just kind of related it. The FBI. The FBI is one of the big four intelligence agencies in our country. You got Homeland Security, the CIA, and so on, Department of Justice, and the National Security Agency. And all of these agencies, in fact, all 17 intelligence agencies in the entire country, they answer to one man, or one office anyways. So far, it's always been a man. But that's the Director of National Intelligence, the DNI, he's called. He's the intelligence czar for the country. We no longer have an independent FBI or a CIA or an NSA. They all work directly for the Director of National Intelligence. He was given authority to take over all of the other agencies in the country by George Bush, not surprisingly, I guess, in 2005, when that office was created. And the first DNI came in and reorganized the entire intelligence mechanism in the United States. The problem is they didn't really tell anybody how they reorganized it. It wasn't immediately intuitive, and nobody wrote any newspaper articles about it back then. But they did. And we can see it today. I mean, there's plenty of evidence that this has actually been the case today. The DNI is a cabinet-level position, answers to the president, only to the president, and everybody else answers to him. And he controls every line item budget of every one of the intelligence agencies in our country. He gives them all their marching orders. They can't do anything without the DNI's approval. Well, here's an interesting thing. The first ever Director of National Intelligence, appointed by George Bush, was John Negroponte, who just happened to be a member of the Trilateral Commission. When we're done talking about other things that the Trilateral Commission have done to us over the years, you won't be surprised that he picked John Negroponte. But I would ask the question, I think anybody would, did John Negroponte reorganize the intelligence apparatus in America for the good of American citizens? Or did he reorganize the entire intelligence mechanism for the good of the Trilateral Commission and its members? Fair question. In my book. We're done talking about this. You'll see, yep, that's what they did. That's just one more thing in a long line, a long list of things that these people have done to perpetrate this fraud on us. They're engineering, if you will, technocracy. They have been since, this group has been doing it since 1973, when it was originally founded. I only wish I knew it back then. I didn't when I first started writing about the Trilateral Commission. And by the way, my first two books were called Trilaterals over Washington, volumes 1 and 2. That was back from 1978 to 81. And I co-authored those two books with the late Professor Anthony Sutton. He passed several years ago, but we documented what these people were doing back then quite well, but we did not understand technocracy. All we knew was what they said about the new international economic order. That's what they said. So we talked about that a lot. But if we'd understand technocracy back then, we would have understood what they meant by the word new. Isn't that funny how just a simple little word can make all the difference in your understanding of something?
Absolutely.
It kind of, in a facetious sort of way, it kind of reminds you what Bill Clinton said, what he said, it depends on what the word is means. See, this is being constricted by the system. Somebody up there said, Don't give them more than $300 a day, period, no subject. That's it. Could they give them $5,000 if they wanted? Sure, they could. They don't want to do that. So that's the policy. They set a policy in place, and all you have to do is follow the policy. And if you follow it, you won't run into trouble with anybody. You don't follow it, there's going to be trouble. This is the nature of technocracy and scientific dictatorship. This is the nature of controlling both production and consumption down to the, to literally to the gnat's whisker. And, we're starting to feel it, but people still don't recognize it yet. There's a lot of angst in America right now. People don't see it. What they feel the pain, they just don't know what's causing the pain. Listen to what Christiana Figueres said last year. She was the head of climate change at the United Nations, and she's in a European press conference. And this is what she said. I watched her lips. I watched it. I've transcribed it. She actually said it. Said, this is the first time in the history of mankind, speaking for the UN, that we are setting ourselves the task of intentionally, within a defined period of time, to change the economic development model that has been reigning for at least 150 years since the Industrial Revolution, close quote. Who can't understand that language? This woman has declared war on the entire economic system of our planet. Capitalism and free enterprise. It's inconceivable. She said this.
Yeah.
They have a plan. They have intention. They have a time schedule, a defined period of time, she says. I'd like to see that calendar, wouldn't you? I'd like to know it.
Absolutely.
Can you show me the details, lady?
Mr. Wood, talking about the transformation of the economy through this technocracy and system of control, what are we looking at here in terms of the digital currency, a digital economy? We see a move in other countries, Denmark being one of the top countries, that we see cashless societies becoming the norm. Here in the U.S., you see, in Louisiana, it's illegal to buy secondhand goods with cash. And we're seeing this war on cash, as we know that our U.S. dollar has lost 99% of its value since the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. What will this technocracy, this system of control, do to our cash society?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. I probably would have forgotten it. But you remember, back to my definition on what is technocracy, where it talked about the scientific operation of the entire social mechanism? And it talks about producing and distributing goods to the entire population, right? Entire, the word entire. No child left behind. No spender left behind. Now, when you hear somebody like Larry Summers, who is one of our, well, I say it loosely, one of our top economists. He's a well-known economist. That's better. Also a member of the Trilateral Commission, I might add. When you see somebody like Larry Summers producing at least a paper a month or a statement a month on why we need to go cashless, you have to ask the question, okay, something else is afoot here. It's not just about laundering money, for Pete's sake. Who would believe that? It's not just about catching drug dealers. Who cares? They're always going to find a way to deal drugs. But the cashless society, the purpose that they're pulling cash out is to drive everybody into the system. They can't afford to have 20% of the world outside of the financial system. They have to force them in. Now, what better way to do that than just pull the money out and say, look, you're all going to get a card. You're all going to get, maybe your card's going to have your food stamp allotment on it. Maybe it's going to have your welfare check on it or whatever, but everybody's going to get a card, whether you want one or not. Whether you're in Africa, whether you're in South America, whether you're poor, whether living out in the middle of the Serengeti, everybody's going to get a card and be inducted into the digital system. People are still worried about currencies today. Well, the dollar's going to, tank, and the yuan is going to, take over the world. Or maybe it's going to be SDRs with the IMF. And, people get all worked up over currencies and which one is going to be supreme. They don't get it at all. If they understood technocracy, they wouldn't even be opening their mouth. Because what's coming, there's only one currency that can support technocracy. Only one. And that's an energy currency. That's the lifeblood of an economic system, right? It's like you got blood in your body. I hope you do. No, I know you do. I do too. If we didn't have blood in our body, we would not be alive. The life is in the blood. That's what the Bible says. And the life of an economic system is in the currency. It's the blood that makes everything flow and work in an economic system. Technocracy requires, by definition, an energy currency, period, and a subject.
So
we see the building blocks of this with all the stinking cap and trade programs around the world and the taxation programs that are being designed to tax people on carbon, which is always related to energy, by the way. And 2 years ago, we actually saw an energy conference take place, a currency conference take place in Croatia, of all places, where economists came from all over the world to talk about an energy-based currency. Lo and behold.